something tonight. Make sure you can count on your. Look across the room. Look at your teammates. Look them in the eye. Do not let them down tonight. Do not let your teammates down tonight. You fight every play. That play's going to last for 4 to 6 seconds. You give everything you got for 4 to 6 seconds. You rest 25 seconds, and you do it again. And have fun doing it.
I'll be your friend. I'll help you care.
All right, back on the Old Dog Show. I've got Chapel Hill linebacker Trevor Brooks with us. Trevor, how's it going?
Going great.
Trevor, got a couple questions for you. First off, coming into the season, this game one was probably one that you guys had circled from last year. Tell us going into what you guys mentally prepared to do this week.
We're in there trying to, we had a whole game plan for them, and we knew they was a great team. So we knew it was going to be a dogfight, but we knew that, at halftime, after Rio, he talked to us and stuff like that. We already knew what it was. We came out and destroyed them in the second half, really. And, going into the game, really, there was a lot of talk about us, not being able to stick with them and stuff like that. But we just use that as motivation to keep us going through the game.
Now, I saw some clips from you guys in the locker room. Coming out there focused like that, competing as one, that's something you guys, try to do every week. How does that get you guys focused? The coach comes in, gives you a speech, you guys come together and just as one unit, because one player can't make the game. So tell me about coming out focused like that. How does that settle you guys down before the game, before it starts?
Well, it feels like a bond, So it's like we go out there, we cheer each other on, and every play we pick each other up, and so it creates, Ohana family. So it's just a really big part of what we do.
All right. So we had a couple of guys that had pretty offensive games. D and Ricky both went off and played well. You had Bayfield with a couple of touchdowns. So they had great. But the best play of the night, let's talk about it. Okay, I talked to Coach McFarland a little bit. You guys had prepped that to watch for the little swinging gate play. Give me your perspective of what you saw just from when you first lined up through that whole entire process.
So, after they scored, we knew they were going to line up in gate. And so McFarland put me in that spot where I'm just in the middle of where they're trying to snap it and where the snap is. And I wasn't really thinking much of it. I thought they were just going to shift back into the field goal. But then I took a quick glance at the scoreboard, and we were up 2. And so I had a feeling that they were going to do it. And then I heard different words because it was like green was when they shift back. I heard red. So I got ready. He put his hand on the ball, and I jumped it and took it for it.
And I'll be honest with you, during the play-by-play coverage, I didn't even see we were kind of talking about the play before where you guys had a chance to wrap the runner up on the sideline and had a couple of guys couldn't wrap him up in the score. We were kind of joking back and forth about that. Keith said they didn't learn how to wrap up, and I said, well, it's not like a regular wrap. So we were kind of like, and then all of a sudden we look up and you had the ball and you run the other way, and we got excited, but it was like we didn't even see that. I had to actually go back on the film to see that, and I know you posted it a few times on your Twitter. Honestly, it's one of those plays. I've never seen that play. I've gone to a lot of football games, and I've never seen that live, something like that, where it just basically you were the quarterback. You just took the ball and left. Now tell me, be honest, how drained were you after running the entire field?
Boy, I was tired. We fought that whole drive, and once I got the ball, I was already a little drained, but I gave it all I got. And about to 30 or 20, I was gassed out, but I came off the field and I had to take my pads off. I couldn't breathe after that. I was just gassed.
Well, it made me tired watching you run. I mean, I'm holding out of shape now, but that's here. Honestly, that between that play and then you guys got the ball back, so it went from being a 2-point game, they could maybe tie it, to make it a 4-point game, and then D takes off first snap for the next possession. He goes and scores. You're probably like, dude, you should have kept the ball a little bit longer. You probably were still tired Well, y'all basically went right back on defense, but that was the point where the game kind of just shifted to you guys, and then you were able to put a couple more touchdowns and kind of spread it out. But honestly, that's what I kind of thought. You guys came out and protected the ball. There were some penalties and stuff. I know you guys will work on getting that stuff cleaned up, but other than that, it was a pretty clean game. Now, there's another game that's coming up this next week. Okay, it's another one I know you guys have circled. Last year, I think you guys were still worried about the Gilmer game, kind of let that affect you in the Van game, had some penalties and stuff. That 3 or 4 touchdowns, I think, were called back. So I know you guys are hungry for this one. Tell me what you're looking for up against Van. I know you haven't watched much film yet, but what are you looking to do against them?
Well, we just need to go out there and play hard. We can't go out there because they might not be as talented as we are, but they play hard. And so if we go out there not trying to play hard, then we're gonna get our butts whooped. But I feel like as this week goes on, we're gonna get ready for it because we all have the same goal in mind: to play 16 games and win all 16 of them. So once we get there, I feel like we'll be ready.
All right, it's that home opener this coming Friday night. Good luck to you, and we'll see you then.
Appreciate it.
All right, that's Trevor Brooks, Chapel Hill middle linebacker. All right, I'm here with head football coach of Chapel Hill Bulldogs, Coach Jeff Reardon, here on the Old Dog Show. Coach, thanks for joining us this morning.
Pleasure to be here.
Coach, tell us about the game this last Friday night. It was a big one, big matchup with Gilmer, top 5 teams in the state. Tell me your overall perspective, how that went for you guys.
I thought the game was as advertised. 2 very good ball clubs battling it out on opening night. A lot of opening night, wrinkles, things you got to iron out. But I thought, coming away with a victory and what we did running the ball Friday night was definitely a positive. But that's why you schedule games like Gilmer, tradition rich, very powerful team, that's going to exploit some of your weaknesses, some things that we need to work on and make us better throughout the season and in the long run. So it was definitely everything you expected for a top 5 East Texas battle. I thought Coach Metzel had a great game plan offensively. Gilmer has, they won the state track meet last year, and their dude in the backfield was the state champion in the 100-meter dash. He could go, so he's going to get his. If he gets a crease, he's gone. He's one of the fastest running backs I've ever seen. And I just thought we settled in after halftime and wasn't beating ourselves with penalties or special teams miscues. And the second half was more Chapel Hill football. We played better on defense. We continued to do what we was doing on offense. But Gilmer kept fighting. That's why we ended up with the stats and score we did, is because we had to keep playing the whole game because it was never over. There was always a chance that they could score really quick and get back in the game.
Yeah, they didn't quit. Even at the end, they were still trying to score. Coach, tell us, you talked about penalties. Okay, it's something that I know you guys want to clean up moving forward. What's your thoughts on the penalties and maybe trying to get some things with the kids as far as getting them straight, as not wanting to make these mental mistakes? What do you do this week to kind of try to clean that up?
Well, I mean, it's a football game. You're going to have penalties. That's just part of the game. Some of the things that were unnecessary, we're going to handle internally and get those fixed, and just motivate them to do the right thing and play clean football. Because a lot of times miscues like that can cost you the game. So we just got to let them know it's about told them at halftime. It's about the name on the front of the jersey. Let's be about Chapel Hill. Let's do what's best for Chapel Hill, not selfishly do what's best for us at the time. But a lot of times, the second guy gets caught, and that's what it was Friday night. The second guy got caught several times. But it was a physical game. It was a high intensity game. So everybody was fired up and playing like their hair was on fire, which we wanted as coaches. So you don't ever want to curb. You don't ever want to pull back on the aggressive nature that we play football, because it's a violent football game. But we also want to be smart about it and just kind of curb that and not completely eliminate it. But we're going to get better at that. It's first game of the year. I mean, you expect stuff like that to happen. And we're going to fix the miscues and special teams. We were there. We just missed tackles because Gilmer's got dudes too, and that happens.
Yeah, you can't miss tackles against Gilmer. That's definitely true, because with all that speed. Okay, talk about your backfield duo, Risman and Stewart. I know a lot of yards put up, a lot of touchdowns. What did you see from those 2 guys in game 1?
they had a lot of running lanes. Ricky and D are a dynamic duo in the backfield, but our receivers and O line were creasing Gilmer all night. There was times that we weren't getting touched. It was straight run to the end zone. And then there were times that Superman and Adrian Peterson did their thing, and broke tackles and made big things happen. So it was a team effort offensively. I thought Dylan Drummond and Pablo Martinez and Keldrick Davis and Jay Knight and Jose Moreno were solid up front. We had some really good blocking on the perimeter with Darius Dean and Jonah Reardon and Marcion Blaylock and Javen Mayfield and Cam Kelly and Braylon Dean. They all got after it all night. So, some downfield blocks that sprung that, and then we were creasing them up front. I think even though we had kids cramping, we were in better shape. We were full speed and fast the whole game. The hydration thing, we hydrated them all week, but it was so hot all week we could never catch up and get ahead with the hydration. I mean, we're giving them pickle juice and Powerades and waters every day, all week, and but it was just a factor of every day we're just replenishing what we lost, and we can never get ahead of the game because it's been so hot. We got some things that we're going to fix on that too this end on our as a coaching staff and as we go through practices and try to remedy that too, because we lost Ricky for a quarter.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too. Is Jabo Cook came in at tailback after Greenlee was gone, and so I was impressed with him. Tell me about how he was able to fill in there in that third quarter and really just keep the train rolling.
Jabo's been a stud running back his entire career in Chapel Hill. He was the middle school running back, and freshman year when we moved Ricky up, he was the freshman running back, and they won a district championship because Trevor Brooks and Jaborian Cook, were making plays on that freshman level. He's just a great football player. He's one of the most physical kids in our program. He starts at outside linebacker for us, but also gets some running back. And he probably got more running back because Ricky was cramping and we didn't have Q. Quentin Greenlee was kicked out of the game early for retaliating and being selfish. But we'll get him back, and we got some. Even Tyrell Goss can run the ball. Have you seen the scrimmages? So, but that's a testament to what we're doing up front and what Coach Irvin's doing with our O line and Coach McDowell's doing with the O line, and those guys are just tenacious. I mean, they block whistle to whistle. It's good stuff.
You mentioned Trevor Brooks. One of the exciting plays of the game was the 2-point conversion, and Trevor basically intercepted the snap and took it all the way. Tell me about that play as far as the momentum. It really shifted. It was kind of back and forth until then. That kind of propelled you guys on that probably about 2 or 3 touchdowns in a row to kind of seal the game off. Tell me about that play.
Well, it changed it from being a tie game to a 4-point game. It was back and forth at that point. They were going for 2 to tie the game up, and then they worked the gate, but we work it all week in practice too, defending it. It's not something that that we weren't prepared for sure, and knew it was coming at some point. But we practiced that all week, and Trevor's an athlete and he's a ball hawk, and we told him when the time comes, pick that thing off and go house, and that's what he did. And it was a long run, and he cramped a little bit too because probably wasn't ready to go 98 yards on a 2-point.
He probably didn't think he was going to run that much at one point the whole game.
But it was a good play. I think that was definitely put a little bit of I think it hurt Gilmer's morale more than it helped our morale. Is what I'm saying. We were still going to go back and forth, punch for punch, blow for blow. But I think when that happened, Gilmer, do you just see their sideline just kind of?
Well, and then you had D break off very first play of the next drive for that touchdown. That kind of just that was the next blow that kind of took them down.
Yeah, that took us up 11, and then we ended up getting a pretty good lead. But we were just trying to maintain that lead, and the great thing is everybody on our team got in the game Friday night. Everybody got to play. I mean, we had to use everybody. You're only as strong as your weakest link. We say that all the time, but everybody got in. Everybody made plays. I've been telling them it's hot right now. We're going to have to use everybody. Like at some point, your number's going to be called because there's going to be cramps. There's going to be people tired. There's going to be injuries. So be ready. I think our kids did a good job of being prepared.
Well, you got out of there with just cramps. So thankfully, no injuries. Let's talk about next week's game. Another revenge game, I would say, from last year. Van was able to knock you guys off in week 2. So what's your mentality going in with this game? I know it's probably not going to change much. It's another game on the schedule. What do you look for in the opponent in Van?
I think last year's was a lot like the Gilmer game last year. We beat ourselves. We didn't I don't think Gilmore or Van beat us last year. They're good football teams, but I think we did things to beat ourselves. You go back and watch the Van film from last year, miscues on punt return, penalties that were questionable, and just little small execution things that got away from us. But I think Van's a very good team. They're coached well. They're not going. That's the thing Van's going to do. They're not going to beat themselves. They're going to make you beat them. And I think that's what we have to do this week to win the game. We got to go beat Van and not beat ourselves. Our playmakers got to make plays. We got to secure some things up on special teams and defense, and go out and play a clean game. I think if we play a clean game, we can win it. If not, it's going to be a dogfight. And it'd be nice to go out and play a clean game.
All right, well, Coach, well, good luck this week. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for joining us today.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Let your brother count on you every play tonight, okay? And then come out and have fun. The gates are locked. Ain't nobody getting out now. They can't run. The gates are locked. Let's bring the fight to them, you got it?